I'm in Temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Frank, Hays, and JJ. Hit it. It's time for the Frangie Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hey, we welcome you in. Today's new drug is a Tuesday or a Thursday installment of the program on the eve of a gigantic Gator Bowl game.
Absolutely.
Let me just tell you this. You get Florida and Tulane together on the same field, well, you know the first thing you do.
Throw out the records.
Throw them out the window. That's what you do. That's the first thing you do. Throw out the window. I remember
it's an old SEC rivalry.
Two originals. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Did you know there?
I did know that.
Okay, so
because I'm sick, and I also know that Swanee was an original SEC.
And Georgia Tech.
That's right, and Georgia Tech.
So,
but Swanee doesn't even what division are they now? Like Division III?
Do they even play?
Like,
aren't they the one that lost 222-0 to Tech?
That was Cumberland.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
Yeah.
So because Cumberland had a bad day that day.
Tough day.
Yeah, that was a tough day.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess if they lost 222-0, they really couldn't get the run game going.
No.
Is that a safe guess?
I would think, and probably couldn't stop it either.
Probably didn't stop.
Yeah. I would think the average per carry was pretty healthy that day for Georgia Tech. I'm going to go with 17.5 was probably the average per carry if you scored 222 points in a game.
Do you remember the last Tulane-Florida game?
I want to say, I don't remember the game, but I want to say on the 1984 SEC championship commemorative Coke bottle that I have, that Tulane is on it.
It is. It's the 84. I don't remember the score. I think Florida beat them 63-21, something like that. And Pell got fired then. Pell got fired.
Wow.
Pell got fired after. I'm pretty sure he got fired after the 63-21 win, and then Galen Hall took over.
Wow.
That's a tough day.
Charlie Pell, pioneer.
That's a tough day.
Today he'd have been the greatest coach in America.
Tough day. The office, you hang 63 and you get fired. But I think that if I remember right, I should know this because it's one of my favorite Gator teams of all time. But if I remember right, they agreed before the season. Marshall Kreiser was the president, right? And they agreed before the season that Pell was out, but he could stay for the year. So I think, and then something happened, and then they started 1-1-1. You remember that? And then I think they beat Tulane. They hung 60 on Tulane, and then they fired him.
You're right.
It was right then.
It was 63-21. It was the third game of the year, September 15th in Gainesville.
Right, and they fired him right after.
And then, then the next game was Mississippi. Florida had a bye. Maybe that's why. Florida had a bye.
Maybe that's what.
So maybe that was part of it. And then on the 29th, they played Mississippi State at home and won 27-12.
Galen Hall's first game would be Galen Hall's first game as then the interim coach. And then they had such a good year, they handed him the job. That's what happened. So they did play. I'm old enough to remember the game. I also remember that I'll go to my grave.
It's wild because looking at the attendance on this, like for Florida Field, it was only like a capacity of 70,000 then.
That's about right. Yeah, and that was in the 80s.
Yeah, 1984.
And it had gotten bigger.
Yeah,
I thought it was bigger than that.
I'm looking at it now.
I think it got to 80 in
the Auburn game. Again, this is just this could be wrong, but the information I'm seeing says for the Auburn game it was 74,397.
Well, then it must have been when Spurrier got there. I thought when Pell got there they got it to 80, and then when Spurrier got there it got to 90. I could be wrong, but somewhere thereabouts. But anyway, I remember the game, and I'll go to my grave saying that's one of the 3 or 4 best Florida teams of all time.
Yeah, maybe that was a year where they were working on the stadium, so maybe it was a little bit limited.
Might have been.
Anyway, but
I remember. Hey, Showdown. Was that when would John English have been the Tulane quarterback then? Who was it? Remember, you probably don't know who that is. His dad was the coach, Wally English. Tulane actually was pretty good in one stretch there. So
in '84, Wally English was the coach.
Was John English the quarterback? His son?
They went 3-8.
He might have been gone by then.
Okay.
So at one point, Wally English was the coach and his son John was the quarterback and beat FSU in a game. That's all. Listen, I got. That's what I got.
This year they played at FSU and lost 27-6. That
must not have been the John English.
So maybe his kid was there in '83.
Maybe something like that. Yes, but I know at one point he was the quarterback under his dad. So there's that. So look. Today on the program, we'll talk a little bit about that game. And does it matter to you as a fan? That's the question. Does it matter to you as a fan that Florida's playing Tulane? And how much does the win matter? And how many will you watch it? By the way, if you're in Jacksonville, I hope you're watching it with us.
Absolutely.
If you're here and you're not at Strings at Penman at the beach tomorrow, then something's the matter.
Yes.
So come watch. We're going to have a gigantic time watching the game tomorrow. So please come out and watch it. But I want to ask whether or not that matters and talk about that a little. I want to talk about the Jags, and this is I told you this yesterday. This is more as a postmortem at the end of the season. But what went wrong? Why is this Jags team that many thought would be a double-digit win team? I would say most. Maybe not everybody thought 12.
Certainly have a winning season.
Yeah, which would be a 9-win team.
Yeah.
And so I would suggest that many thought, and I didn't hear many 9-8 projections. I heard some 10-7, some 11-6s. I didn't hear anybody locally or nationally predict a losing season.
Yeah.
So kind of what went wrong. I got some thought. I got three things that stand out to me. And I'm going to go over kind of what I think they are. So I'm going to give you the things I think that went wrong today. We'll talk about that. There's some news out there. Diego Pavia might have just changed the world for junior college athletes. That might be a real game changer if it becomes the precedent by which everything else is judged. You know that Diego Pavia, if you don't know, was the Vanderbilt quarterback. He sued for another year, suggesting his junior college year shouldn't count for one of his competitive years, and he won. So, and by the way, I don't think there's an appeal. Why would the NCAA appeal this?
Right.
Why do you want to? Why would anybody want to win an appeal against him? Right.
Right.
I mean, I would think even the people that lost this case would be glad they lost it. That's more opportunities for kids to play football, right?
I think so. And the other thing, we talked to Brett Hastings about this a couple weeks ago, because I think you can extrapolate from this the argument that somebody else could come forward with and say, let's just say I'll just use Graham Mertz as an example, because I don't think Graham Mertz really has much of an NFL future, even if he hadn't gotten hurt. So take whatever quarterback in your mind you have that's pretty good in college, but probably is not going to have much of a chance in the NFL. Why wouldn't that player sue the NCAA and say, you can't age me out of this business? I am making 6 figures, 7 figures a year to compete in this business. Forget that it's a sport or anything. It's a business. This is my livelihood. This is what I'm getting paid to do. This is my career. Why are you aging me out of it? Because there's nowhere else for me to go where I'm guaranteed to make what I'm making now. Like Graham Mertz, if he had unlimited eligibility, yeah, he probably wouldn't come back to Florida, but he might go be the NC State quarterback and make $600,000 a year next year. And again, it doesn't have to be Mertz. That's a player that I think we can all kind of, kind of know what he is. But I think it opens an argument to why have eligibility standards at all? Why not just have it to be where you can play college football for as long as you want, as long as you can find a team that's willing to take you, you can play for as long as you want. Now, obviously, most kids and the really good kids, they're going to want to go play in the NFL. It's every kid's dream. Obviously, you don't have a lot of the responsibilities at the NFL level, certainly like from an academic standpoint, that you would have in college. But I think the Pavia case is really interesting because of what it could snowball into in terms of eligibility, and should you even be able to have it if these athletes are able to make this kind of money? Should they be aged out of this climate where they can make this kind of money playing?
Yeah, so we'll see. And I'll tell you what, I think he's a pretty good player.
He is a good player.
I mean, I'm watching them.
He says he's staying at Vandy, but I don't know that he is.
May leave. I'll bet he stays at Vandy because they found a little something this year. It was kind of cool. Yeah, it was
a great story.
It was a great story, and I think they stayed with the coach for a while, and I think they found a little something there. I think he's a fun story, and he's a good little college quarterback now. So and he's smart. He's probably not a pro quarterback. So,
he's definitely not.
So play to your point. Play college football as long as you can. So good story for them. And it would be nice to see Vandy be able to win on a somewhat regular basis rather than have 1 or 2 good years and then be bad again. What if they found a little something? That'd be kind of cool.
And it again, maybe it's Diego Pavia. Maybe he wins this case,
right?
And then he just basically launches a new suit, suing them again, saying not only now I've won my JUCO case, and now those years don't count against me, but now I'm going to sue you again over there should be no restriction for how long I can participate in this business climate.
Yeah, I'd be surprised because
I know you don't like it as a fan.
Yeah, well,
but legally, I think he has a strong argument.
Yeah, no.
I mean, as a novice.
Yeah, but even not as a fan, I would think that would change. That would change the landscape and the heritage of what college athletics are so dramatically that I don't think that would win. Now, that's not a legal opinion. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
so
but I don't know, though, that a judge will take that in consideration. It's basically going to be.
Yeah, I would. We'll see. We'll see if anybody challenges. I would be surprised. I would not be surprised, to your point, if somebody challenged it. I would be a little. But has no one ever tried that before?
I don't think so.
Yeah, but I would be surprised.
Because there's never been, you've never been able to make this kind of money.
Correct.
I mean, now you've got a revenue. We haven't even gotten to the revenue sharing, chapter in the saga of the college football revolution that starts in July with the revenue sharing. I mean, $20 million per school is what these schools can now hand out.
Yeah, here's why I would be surprised.
And that's not NIL money.
Yeah, I think there's a right to work element in play here, to your point. But at some point, where does that stop? Would someone sue the NFL to no longer keep rosters at 53 because it denies my chance to work?
That's collectively bargained.
Yeah. Well, correct. And there's no. You're right. There's no organized labor here. So we'll see. I'd be surprised if that happens. But I also would have been surprised if the junior college thing happened, and it just did. So we'll see. So we'll certainly.
It basically seems like we're in a world now where if you sue the NCAA over anything, you're going to win the case.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like
that is true.
That I mean, I think they're the Glass Joe of the legal system. I think the NCAA is like 1 in 99 in their last 100 lawsuits. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that anybody will seek it. But this does make me wonder if you could take this and then extrapolate it further and say, you know what? There should be no eligibility. You can play college football for as long as you want. As long as universities will take you, you can play for as long as you want.
And I hope, by the way, Vanderbilt's decent again. And Clark Lee's in his 4th year there. Wouldn't it be neat if a guy just stayed? Remember that Bobby Johnson, the former Furman coach, who I thought would stay. He was a good coach.
Yeah.
And I thought he would stay for a long time.
And he looked exactly like Steve Martin.
Just like him. Exactly right. We'll talk some Jaguar football today. We'll talk a little bit about the bowl game tomorrow. We'll talk about the Raiders and Brock Bowers, by the way, the former Bulldog, on a Raiders season that has been a disaster. He's been anything but. He's been one guy, quiet because he's on a team nobody watches, but he's been as good. You talk about a guy that's as good as he's supposed to be. It'll be kind of fun watching Brock Bowers and Brian Thomas Jr. in the same game.
Absolutely. So, the best thing about Bowers is he really does look like total man on the street. He does not have any sort of semblance of. We saw him at the combine.
Yeah,
and it's like and at SEC football media days, and he just looks like a regular guy. But he's the best tight end maybe to ever live.
Were you with me? I think you were. I don't think it was.
I went 2 years ago, but he was there.
Okay, so you were there when Kirby told me. So the year he was there, we had Kirby on.
Okay.
And then Kirby told me on air, and then a little more off air. He says, "Good luck with that one." Do you remember that? Kirby goes, "Good luck." That's what he said, Frankie ain't gonna talk.
Yeah, I think Mia tried to ask him what's your favorite ice cream flavor,
right.
and he was like, "I don't know. What's a good one to say?"
That's right. Yeah. But when we had him on, I couldn't get anything out. I was doing. I've only been doing this 40 years. I couldn't get in. Remember how he just wouldn't say anything. But
he also just physically doesn't look like Kyle Pitts and Kellen Winslow Jr. and Vernon Davis, these elite, they looked like just rare athletes.
Right.
Brock Bowers, you don't get that from him, but boy, he is.
He looks like he could be in the SunTrust management trainee program. So one day he's going to be the manager of the Bay Meadows branch.
Yes.
That's exactly what he looks like.
But then you put a helmet and pads on him, and he can't be covered.
All right, we got a lot of time. We'll talk some Jaguars football. We'll talk a little bit about the Gators tomorrow. Big news on the Gator recruiting front. We'll get to that coming up. I want to talk about Thomas Castellanos. I think I'm saying it right. How important is he in the grand scheme of things? This 5'10" quarterback from Waycross, Georgia, might be the most important thing to happen to FSU football in a long, long time. I'm going to tell you why coming up on the program. We got a lot to do. Glad you're with us. The Duval County Scholar Athlete stops by today as well. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Mondays in the fall are made for talking football.
Let's talk football.
Football! Sink your teeth into Dandy Foods Post-Game Monday.
Let's talk football.
Makers of quality fresh sandwiches and home of the good stuff on 1010XL.
Looking for a new vehicle? Take a look at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. Now's the time to save big. Choose from more than 250 new and over 1,000 used and certified pre-owned vehicles on the lot, or shop anytime at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com. Hyundai has one of the top warranties in the business. Lifetime, powertrain, and 5-year bumper-to-bumper warranty, plus 3 years free maintenance on a new vehicle. Give them the chance to earn your business today on Atlantic Boulevard or at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Now, the Florida State Seminole Report, brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team.
Florida State quarterback DJ Uiagalelei declared for the NFL draft on Monday, ending a college career that took him to 3 different schools. DJ U finishes his college career with 9,384 yards passing, with 61 touchdown passes and 30 interceptions, adding 1,124 yards rushing and 21 touchdowns on the ground. I'm RJ Saunders with your Ag Pro Seminole Report.
AgPro has been family-owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
This holiday season, give the gift of comfort and joy. Comfort food and the joy that comes with digging into a huge plate of diner favorites from Metro Diner. And to make things even more merry, now through the end of the year, they're adding on a $10 bonus card with every $50 spent on gift cards. Metro Diner gift cards are the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Friends, family, or coworkers. Stop by the diner or metrodiner.com and get all your gift shopping done easily. Happy holidays from Metro Diner.
Fish are good at hiding. Captain Kevin can help you find them.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Find more fish on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
Thursday nights at 6.
Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss on 1010XL AM.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a septic tank emergency.
Don't let your holidays go down the drain. Duck Duck Rooter's here to save your Christmas cheer. Whether it's a stubborn clog, a burst pipe, or a septic scare, we'll fix it faster than Santa can slide down a chimney. Duck Duck Rooter. Call us now and save the day. 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter, because nobody wants a silent night in the bathroom.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about hardballcreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and if I know anything about the dudes that listen to 1010, they've got their own list of toys that they'd like to have for Christmas. You've got some of them in your showroom.
We've got all of them. We've got the toys for them. We got the toys for the kids. We got go-karts, dirt bikes, side-by-sides, ATVs, you name it. We've got it, and we are ready for Christmas.
So you can shop for yourself and for your loved ones. It's all happening at Cycles of Jacksonville, online or on Atlantic near Regency.
Jacksonville contractors and business owners. Do you need custom large metal fab gates or automatic gate controls? Frank Frangie here. Coyle & Sons has been in business in Jacksonville since 1927. They've earned the reputation of quality and specialized skill. Coyle & Sons are the ones trusted in Jacksonville by the top contractors, and they stand on their reputation when you need almost 100 years of commercial contractor experience. So call Coyle & Sons today at 904-356-4821. CoilJacks.com.
Bold City Brewery invites you to celebrate Dubs and Duval all season long with a cold pint. Enjoy all their beer, seltzer, ciders by logging on to BoldCityBrewery.com. Head to the production house on Roselle Street in Riverside or Bold City downtown and be bold.
If you know about artificial turf, you know it needs to be done right. Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Sunshine Turf, a family-owned company that will transform your outdoor space into the oasis of your dreams. A putting green, a pet run, a maintenance-free yard. Trust me, the team at Sunshine Turf are the experts you need to transform your lawn. With the highest quality products and budget-friendly pricing, get clean, low-maintenance synthetic grass by visiting sunshineturf.info or call 904-383-0243 to get a free quote today from Sunshine Turf.
Icebreakers Bar and Grill in the Community First Igloo is the coolest place in town for lunch and dinner. Watch the game with a wide selection of local beers, cocktails, wings, burgers, ribs, and more. Enjoy with family and friends at Emerson and I-95.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
We do thank our friends from Stanley Pools. Man, they do a terrific job. They service our pool. They've built our pool. They've renovated it. And they're about to do another renovation in our backyard. So Greg Stanley and the folks at Stanley Pools, man, they are good. Since 88, they have been the superstars. We certainly do appreciate those guys. We're going to talk some college football later on. My friend Lauren Brooks just sent me a text. It's Castellanos. She's like the pronunciation czar.
That's right.
And so, thank you, Lauren. Castellanos. But I think this little 5'10" quarterback from Waycross, Georgia, right up in Ware County High, might be such a gigantic part of FSU's future. And I'm going to explain why coming up a little bit. But let's start with the Jaguars. What went wrong? I'm going to give you three things, okay? And whether it's the players played badly, whether the coaches didn't get enough out of them, but I'll tell you the three things that I think went wrong, okay? Number one, quarterback struggles. No, I'm not saying it's Trevor's fault or Mac Jones' fault, whether it's his fault, the coach's fault, but I think the quarterbacks were up and down. Big mistakes at the end of some games, missing some open guys. I think one of the problems is quarterback play. And again, I'm not saying, well, let's blame Trevor. It's not blame. It's I don't think the quarterback play was as good, and whether that's because of play calling, I don't think the quarterback play was great. That's one. Number two, safety play. I think the safeties were beat over the top so many times. I think so many times the safeties were beat over the top.
I've honestly never seen anything like it. Even bad Jaguar teams previous to this one did not have the issues in terms of blowing coverages deep like this one does.
And the third thing is interior lines. The offensive line has played better of late. I still don't think they're very physical inside. They can't make 30 yard. And the defensive tackles have been a disaster. I think the defensive tackle position has been an absolute disaster. I think I saw a stat. I'm going to get this wrong. We talked about it in our Jaguar broadcast meeting today. But it listed the defensive tackles, all of the top four defensive tackles for every team in win rate is a pass rusher. And all four of the Jaguars who played the most, and the most that was Devon Hamilton, Lacey, Ledbetter, and Mason Smith. That's the four that had the most amount of plays. Had four of the worst win rates of any defensive tackles in the league. So I think those spots, and again, quarterback play up and down, but I can't say that the quarterback play was great, whoever's fault that is. Safety play. And then I think the interior of the lines, mostly the defensive front. Because I don't think the receivers have been bad. One's been great. I think the tight end, when healthy, has been great. I think are very good. I think the two running backs have been pretty good. I really do. I think, the linebacker play, moving Foye was a mistake. Foye Aluakin, now part of it he missed some games. But let me give you a stat. Foye Oluokun has been in the top 3 in tackles the last 4 years. He's led the league in tackles twice. Do you know that? And in 1 year, he finished in the top. So in the last 3 years, he's been in the top 3 in tackles, Hays. Top 3 in tackles. The last 3 years. Led the league twice. They decided to move him out of the Mike spot and into a Will and a Sam spot. He's 63rd in the league in tackles. Did you realize that?
Yeah.
So
now again, he's missed some
games.
He was on IR, but
he's missed some games.
Hasn't been as productive.
He hasn't been as productive. Yeah. So the point is, but I think if you look at the things, the quarterback play, passing game hasn't been what you wanted it to be. The safeties have been beat over the top, and the defensive tackle play has been. I mean, look, they've changed who's up and down so much over the course of the season, and none of those guys have stepped up. I don't know that the roster is nearly as good as I thought it would be, and I was way wrong on that. But those are the culprits for me.
Yeah, those are all good ones. I would say I would start with Doug Peterson's inability to find the right defensive coordinator, because I didn't think Mike Caldwell was anything terrific. And Ryan Nielsen has frankly been worse. I'll just start with these numbers. So this year, the Jaguars under Ryan Nielsen are last in total yards allowed in the league. They're 29th in interception rate. They're 30th in sack rate. They're 29th on third down. They're tied for 27th in scoring defense. The numbers last year for the Jaguars, 22nd in yardage, 15th in interception rate, 27th in sack rate, 8th on third down. That's top quadrant in this league. 8th on third down last year to 29th. And they were in the same position in terms of scoring. So you fired a defensive coordinator last year and replaced him with somebody with the exact same amount of talent who has been worse. So, to me, it starts there. Even if the offense had been great, you might have had a season like what Cincinnati's going through. Joe Burrow leads the NFL in passing touchdowns. Doesn't matter because they can't stop anybody. And so even forgetting the offense for a second, and they certainly have their share of this blame, the defense has been so poorly coached in terms of guys playing out of position. I mean, Eric Armstead, come on. I mean, what are you doing? How stubborn do you have to be? Or how, how can you possibly play Armstead at end? And if that's his wish, then shame on you. You're a professional football organization. Play him where you think he should be playing, not because Eric Armstead said after so many years in the league, you know what, I'd like to be an edge now.
Let me stop you. On poorly coached, do you think the defensive line men are poorly coached, or do you think they got the wrong guy?
Well, I think the poorly coached is more the coverage,
the scheme,
that they're blowing.
Obviously, the scheme.
I think it's you have a defensive line coordinator, defensive line coach who is now the coordinator, who is struggling with tying the coverage to what he wants to do, or at least teaching it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Ryan Nielsen has the greatest scheme in the NFL. It doesn't matter if you can't teach it, if you can't get it across to your players. That's not on them. That's on you. And so to me, it starts there. But yeah, I mean, let's start with, let's stay on the defensive side. Let's go to Trent Baalke's office. The supplemental edge is pathetic and has been for 2 years. Roy Robertson Harris has not been on this team since the first London game, and he is tied for second on this team in sacks with 2. Jeremiah Ledbetter is tied with him at 2, who is a rotational player.
The backups at edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's nothing at edge at all
after starters
that's making any kind of impact after Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. So that's a pathetic display of how to build a roster. I mean, it's a total joke that there isn't a third guy that can at least give you 4.5 sacks here. So I think that's been a big problem.
Yeah, let me stop you because you're right. the miss there was they decided Eric Armstead would be their third edge, and a guy that had never played edge. There's your miss. You took a guy that had never played edge and said, "Hey, we're going to make him our third edge." That was the gigantic miss. Now you're right. There should have been a fourth guy too, but that was the gigantic miss. And the Miles Cole was a miss. I mean,
well, sure. I mean, that's a 7th round pick, but I mean, you signed this Travis Gibson only to trade him, but then don't really. It's not like it wasn't like there was some in-house option that it was like, oh my gosh, look at what Yasir Abdullah has turned into. I mean, we've got to move Travis Gibson because Yasir Abdullah has just had this incredible offseason. It's his time now to be that third guy. That didn't happen. So there's a huge void there, and you can't just ask Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker to go get 20 sacks each and put you as a defense where you kind of need to be in terms of your sack numbers.
Well, and to that end, Hays, completely right, and to go get all these sacks when there's no push in the middle and they can get chipped all day. So it's not to your point, there's not backups there. They didn't go get backups there. That's A. B, if my center and guards can easily handle one-on-one your tackles, well, that gives me one of the center and guards to help on the end, and I can chip all day long with tight ends. So in fairness to Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker, your point is
I'm not blaming them at all.
No.
They've been good.
No, I know you're not.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is your main point is there's no backups. But in addition to that, there's no help in the middle.
Right.
So I mean,
Devon Hamilton has as many sacks as you and I do.
Yeah, I would promise you, most ends would love to be an end if Jeffrey Simmons was your tackle, because there's so much. Now I'm picking the best guy. You know my point though. Yeah. They're getting so much attention. Quinnen Williams, they're getting so much attention that you now got to go. Now you got to block your ends one-on-one. Well, I'm not. I don't watch tape. I don't have the eye to watch tape like some football people do. But I'll bet if you really went back and watched it, the amount of times Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker, the amount of times the offensive tackle has help with them, I'll bet is the most in the league. Because I'm guessing, because they're there to help because you don't need help with the middle. See
Absolutely.
my point? I think that's a big part of it. So
yeah, and so I mean, so that just is the defensive side of things. Offensively, they have failed. Doug Peterson should have taken back play calling. That was a gigantic error. Whether it was stubbornness, loyalty to Press Taylor, he should have come out of last season's collapse and said, you know what, I'm going to take this back. But he didn't do it. So offensively, I think they have a very stale scheme, which I think has been apparent by how they have performed. So I think, that was a big whiff. The free agent class in general that Trent Baalke brought in was a disaster. Armstead's been an F. Morris has been the best, and I'd say he's been a B minus. Ronald Darby, not that we had high expectations when they signed him, but they obviously did. He couldn't hold his job. Gabe Davis, disaster. So I mean, nothing out of the free agent group helped at all. And so it's been a litany of things. I do think there is something to, there isn't much edge here. I think they get along. I think it's harmonious, and that's great, but there isn't a lot of edge, and that's it. It stops here. We're not going to allow this to happen. I don't see that. I think there's some complacency. So, it's a litany of things. I probably gave you more than 3, but that'd be my assessment.
Well, I love it because you got worked up. I love worked up Hays. You were worked up Hays. I don't agree with the play calling. I know other people do. I've called every play in these last 3 years. I don't see an appreciable difference in the play calling, the pattern of play calling, the plays they call now than when they were winning all those games at the end of 22. To me, I know that's a narrative. I know who calls the plays is a narrative. I don't see – I know people love to marry to play calling. I'm watching this team. I don't think play calling is the issue. I don't think the play calling is different.
I don't think they're very good at it at all.
Yeah. No, and I think you
I mean, they who do they fool?
But were they,
I mean, how many times have you made a call this year and said, my gosh, was he wide open?
But did you see it 2 years ago? What you just said? Did you – I mean – do you think the play calling is different now than it was 2 years ago?
I think it's worse.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just being. I don't see a difference. I wish I could tell you, man. when Spurrier called those plays, and then when he was gone and Ed Zornbrecher, oh my God, what a difference! I can't see a difference. I'm just being honest. I can't. I don't see play calling now versus play calling 2 years ago. I don't see a difference. I don't. I would tell you if I did.
Well, and I think a lot of it too is their tendencies. It's the fact that now that defensive coordinators have seen it. It just doesn't change. Like they're running the same stuff. There's no,
in my opinion,
evolution of it.
Yeah, in my opinion, you watch all these NFL games. It's different than college because some teams are RPO and some teams are run and shoot. We watch all these, and I watch them all. You watch them all. We watch them all. I think NFL offenses are mostly designed the same. Play calling's different. I think NFL offenses, for the most part, I don't think there's a lot of variety. Yeah, there's some trick plays. Some teams are good at knowing when to call the trick play and when not to. I don't see a lot of that. Just me. I mean, I think you can watch the Steelers and the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Chargers, and I think the most teams are in a shotgun most of the time now. Every now and then there's a pistol. There's the motions are the same. Everybody motions about the same amount. I don't see a big. That's me. I don't see a big difference in play calling. I think again that's the narrative. What I see is and by the way. I think healthy Christian Kirk, they're a different team without healthy Christian Kirk. That's what I think. I think back to your personnel thing. Letting Zay Jones go. Zay Jones gone for Ridley and whoever and Gabe Davis and all. At the end of the day, it was a mistake. They were pretty good with Zay Jones and Christian Kirk and who was the other wideout?
Marvin Jones.
They were pretty good. None of those guys individually were stars, but together, that was a pretty good group together. And Evan Ingram is the tight end. I don't know of any the same coach, the same offensive coordinator, the same quarterback coach who've been here all 3 years. The same guys have been here all 3 years. Defensively, that's not the case. Defensively, you can clearly tell the change. It's all the man coverage. It's who's got their hand on the ground. They've moved Foye Aluakun around. Offensively, I know everybody thinks that. Just my opinion. I don't see a big difference. But your point about the edge, no question. It's not a team it doesn't have that. It doesn't have, that doesn't mean they're soft. That just means they're not, who's screaming around the locker room, turning tables over, throwing helmets around the locker room after they played bad in the first half. I think that's your point.
Yeah, I don't
see that at all.
I think they play hard. I don't think they're soft like necessarily. I mean, they're a finesse team.
Right.
That's how they're built. So I mean, they're clearly not built to win street fights. I mean, by their own design. But it's not that I think that they wilt on the field. I think there's a acceptance of losing that most organizations, I say the high-level organizations would not tolerate. But I think here, you can lose a game and then, go play basketball in the locker room or eat cupcakes or do whatever. And I think some of that stuff you have to put that aside when you've won 4 of your last 20 games.
I wonder what would happen if they had gone and gotten 2 or 3 really veteran physical interior linemen on either side of the ball. They went and got Mitch Morse, who's a good player, but he's not a bear. They went and got Eric Armstead and played him outside. I wonder what would have happened if you'd have looked up and DJ Reader showed up here. I wonder what happened if Kevin Zeitler had showed up here. Veteran inside physical players and the inside. And again, the safety thing's another thing too. What I wonder about the safety, we're way late, we're going to go to break here. What I wonder about the safety thing, Hays, is it the scheme? Is the scheme too hard to coach? Because again, coaches are responsible. You can talk about players all you want. It's a coach's job to make sure the player plays how he's supposed to play. That's why coaches make the money they make. That's why coordinators make $3 million and head coaches make $6 million. That's why it's the way it is. So anyway, but those are the things as you really look back, and we'll do more of a postmortem at the end of the year. But I'll go back to what I said. Quarterback play has not been as good as it should be. Interior defensive line play has been really poor. Safety play has been really poor. If you look at the players, those are the areas that jump off the page for me. I don't even know that I think the cornerbacks have been terrible. I think the cornerbacks haven't had much help from the safeties. Now, that's a non-football guy's opinion, but that's what I think. Moving Foye Aluakun from the spot where he led the league in tackles 2 years in a row to a spot where he's playing in space, that's the head-scratcher. That is a gigantic head-scratcher. So anyway, that's what went wrong. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about college football. I got a thought or two about the Florida-Tulane game and the importance of it. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here for Karis Wealth Planning. If you're looking for a company that truly helps you make your money work for you, why not try a group who's been doing it successfully for almost a quarter of a century? Karis will truly bring together all the pieces of your financial world and develop a comprehensive plan to really help you secure your future. So call Karis today at 904-598-3585 or log on to Karis, that's KERAS.nm.com. Make your money work for you with Karis Wealth Planning.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon for MyBookie. Find your holiday season stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start. And check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a 50% bump on your first deposit. For a limited time, MyBookie will add 50% to your initial deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 1-point underdog at the Las Vegas Raiders. The over-under is 39.5 points. The Texans are a 3-point underdog at Kansas City. The Ravens, a 6-point favorite at home against the Steelers. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a 50% bump on your initial deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Give a unique gift this holiday season with a custom-made candle or body care product from Wick, a candle bar. Make your own product in the store with over 90 fragrances at Wick, a candle bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
Grab your lucky spot on the couch, because traditions make Sunday easy to enjoy. Bud Light, easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
We could call them helmets and cleats, but they don't wear cleats.
Those shoes are hot.
Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
From the First Coast Lighting Studios at 1010XL.
Weekdays noon to 2.
You think you could join us?
This holiday season, send someone you love a beautiful arrangement from Kuhn Flowers. JJ here, and I know that when you order from Kuhn, you'll show them how much you care. Online at KuhnFlowers.com.
Jeff Lagerman here. Now that football season is here, make sure your ride can get to that tailgate or away game safely and dependably. You can trust the ASE certified professionals at any of the 27 independently owned Napa Auto Care Centers and the quality Napa parts they use. Napa Auto Care Centers can handle everything: oil changes, air conditioning, brakes, engines, transmissions, and more. Napa Auto Care offers a nationwide 24-month, 24,000-mile peace-of-mind warranty on most repairs. Find a Napa Auto Care Center near you. JacksNapaAutoCareGroup.com.
When you're injured, you probably have more questions than answers, and all you really want is to feel better. This is Joe C., and I certainly can identify. Well, thanks to Rebound Rehab, I bounced back from a serious case of ankle tendonitis to feel pain-free. And they can do the same for you. 8 locations across the First Coast and a team of physical therapists ready to help. From laser and radio pressure wave therapy to aquatic and massage therapy, they can offer real solutions to help you rebound. Log on, reboundrehab.com, and start your path back to pain-free life.
It's holiday season, and Nimnick Chevrolet is here for you. Whether you're making memories on the road or continuing family traditions right here in Jacksonville, you can always count on us because there's nobody but Nimnick. Now, that red tag sales event is back at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. And unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV, designed to go the distance. The Silverado EV boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor. And oh, by the way, ask about 0% financing and $7,500 instant cash savings on EVs. Remember, Nimnick will always give you top dollar for your trade. So if you're looking for a great place to shop over this holiday season, there's only one answer: Nimnick, because there's nobody but Nimnick.
Atlantic Self-Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self-Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Las Vegas Raiders tight end Brock Bowers has burst onto the scene in his rookie season in the NFL. The first-round draft pick out of Georgia leads all rookies in receiving yards with 968 going into Week 16. Jaguars linebacker Foye Oluokun on what he sees in the standout rookie out of Georgia.
It's like a mismatch type thing. He catches the ball well, can run away from even the safeties and stuff, but he uses his body well, and then, makes explosives down the field when he is able to catch and run. So he's a good athlete, good explosive player. It's all about being able to match up on him throughout the down, really.
Foye Oluokun on Brock Bowers with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update. I'm Andrew Gibson.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
Shouldn't have done this, R.J. Saunders. Out of north central Los Angeles. How am I supposed to do a talk show when you drop reasons on me?
So I thought we could just switch things up a little bit.
It's a Thursday afternoon on the First Coast. Carolina's dropping Philip Bailey on me, and I'm supposed to talk football?
Yeah. You're going to have, this is a test of your professionalism.
What do you expect out of me? The demands of me are unfair here. Hang on, I'll get to this.
I think RJ saw the groupies in the hallway.
Yeah, he did.
But we're off the air at 4, RJ.
My favorite Earth, Wind, and Fire song. RJ, you an Earth, Wind, and Fire guy or no? You're too young?
Absolutely.
You are? Okay. I'll get to it in a minute. We got football. Look, we're here. Relax over there. We're here till 4, okay? Which I don't know. Don't get all impatient on me.
I'm just enjoying it.
I love this song. God bless him. And by the way, Philip Bailey can still hit these notes. 70, What is it, 73? We looked it up the other day, 73, 74? Or older. He can still hit them. I'm just telling you, Philip Bailey.
Because I think I think Phil Collins is like in his early 80s now.
And
they were contemporaries.
Yeah, because they did the song together. Yeah. So Thomas Castellanos, he is. They list him at 5'9". I said 5'11". You said probably more like 5'9". Well, here he's listed at 5'9". He's a little guy. Okay.
Yeah.
He's clearly the FSU quarterback.
Yes.
I mean,
because I can't tell you who their backup is right now.
Kromenhoek left. DJU is going to be in the draft. He'll probably be a first rounder. So he's declared for the draft. So
I guess Brock Glenn is still there.
I think he is. But
I guess he's the backup.
Castellanos is the quarterback.
Yes.
So this little guy from Ware County, the Ware County Gators, I believe it is, by the way. This little guy from Ware County High School, right up the road in Waycross. Mike Norvell's career hangs in the balance a little bit. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to be an offensive coordinator somewhere or whatever. But I got to believe, someone told us that the buyout's even $50 million next year. They won't fire him. I'm sorry. 2-10 next year, they're going to fire him. Okay, I don't.
They'll
care
find it.
I don't care what the buyout is.
I would agree.
If you're 2-10 again next year, you're going to get fired.
Yeah.
Okay? So he can't.
He can probably go 6-6.
That's right.
And survive because they might not want to write the check for that.
Yeah, but that's right. So this is a really important. So and again, I'll say what I said yesterday. I'm going to credit FSU. After a disastrous season, their activity has been appropriate. It's been really appropriate activity. He gutted the staff immediately. He didn't wait around. He went and got the offensive coordinator he wanted. He went and got the defensive coordinator he got. He went and got veteran coaches. He got active in the portal. He flipped a really good high school running back. He went and found his quarterback. So he didn't wait. He was very proactive, and I applaud them for that. But Hays, I went back and watched that Florida State-Florida game. I am astounded that the Florida State team from last year became the Florida State team from this year, and so much relies on this Castellanos guy. Now, what we saw at Miami, if you get the right guy,
this guy's not Cam Ward.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
I know,
but you're right.
But if you get the right guy, but isn't it surprising? Might not be the right word, but there's certainly something eye-popping to the fact that 5'9" Thomas Castellanos, who's a good player, so much of the Florida State football future relies on his shoulders.
Without a doubt, and he's got to be sharp right out of the gate because you open against Alabama
Great call.
At home. So there's not a lot of wiggle in terms of getting settled with him before you get a massive test. And I think the key for Mike Norvell with Castellanos will be, can you merge the 23 version with the 24 version? In 23 for Boston College, Castellanos was not a very good passer. He was 15 touchdowns, 14 picks, but he ran for over 1,100 yards with a 5.2 average and 13 touchdowns, which is fantastic. So you had a poor passer, but you had an outstanding runner at quarterback. So I don't know if the challenge with Bill O'Brien arriving was become more of a quarterback and less of a runner, because then the numbers almost dramatically flipped. As a passer, he really improved this past year. He was 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. You would certainly take that ratio if you're Florida State, over 3-to-1 ratio moving forward. The problem was his rushing fell apart. He became a 2.1 yards per carry rusher, only had 194 on the ground, one rushing touchdown as opposed to 13 the year before. So I think if you're Mike Norvell and Gus Malzahn, it's okay, we want to get him back to a player that can threaten 1,000 yards on the ground and double-digit touchdowns, but we can't have that ratio being 1-to-1 on the touchdown passes to interceptions. So that will be their challenge. And, he's an exciting player. Obviously, there's a lot of Jordan Travis in his game in terms of how he plays.
Dead on.
So it makes sense that Mike Norvell is trying to go back to that well. I just think Jordan Travis was an extraordinary talent and probably never got his due until we saw how poorly that offense functioned once he was graduated. So it'll be a challenge. And obviously when the quarterback is running as much as Castellanos, I'm assuming, will be at that size, because you can body weight guys. Obviously if they're running, you can body weight them anyway. But if he is sacked in the pocket, things like that, he doesn't have the biggest frame. So durability, I think, becomes an issue. You do have to wonder about how he handled the situation in BC once O'Brien benched him, and he basically left the team. But, if he's all bought in, and you have to think he is, that'll be the challenge. Can you get the best of both worlds out of him? But, yeah, if Castellanos plays like we have seen, there's no reason Florida State shouldn't get back to at least winning 7 or 8 games next year.
And remember,
but they got to find an offensive line too.
Gus Malzahn signed him out of high school. He went to UCF to play for Gus Malzahn.
Right.
So Gus liked him. No, he didn't play very much. He was only there 1 year. He threw like 16 passes, and then he transferred to BC after that. And again, there's coaching changes left and right. And, this guy's been in the middle of coaching changes all over the place. But clearly, Norvell and Malzahn got together and said, look, what do we do? What do we do here? Luke's leaving. They obviously knew Luke. I assume they knew Kromenhoek was leaving. Is that a safe? I mean,
they may have even encouraged it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't agree with that, but I'm also not around the kid every day and in meetings and things like that.
And if you're on the hottest of hot seats, do you want a quarterback who's barely played, or do you want a guy that's 23 years old and has played a lot, or 21 years old, will be 20, has played a lot of football? I think that's the thing. So, but you're right. You better find an offensive line. Look, they got to find everything. The skill's not very good. The receivers aren't very good. The defense wasn't very good. The handful of defensive players that at least they thought would be good, Marvin Jones Jr. and Peyton, are leaving.
Right.
So they've got a total rebuild.
Yes.
But so much is around this quarterback. I guess that's this 5'9" kid from right up the road in Waycross. And by the way, this doesn't mean Florida State forever. If it fails again under Mike Norvell, you fire him and go get the next guy. And if the next guy's good, you build it back pretty quick. It's not like you can't build it back.
I think it sets up pretty well for them if they move on from Norvell after this coming season, because you'd have Dillingham at Arizona State, and I just don't believe he's going to stay. I get it, it's his alma mater, But I think
don't stay at ASU if FSU calls.
I
agree
think.
with that.
You obviously will, you see what maybe Deion Sanders is doing in his first year without Hunter and Sanders. Lane Kiffin could certainly be in play. I think Lane Kiffin could leave Ole Miss to go to Florida State. I mean, I could be wrong, but so I think the carousel might set up favorably for Florida State if they do move on from Mike Norvell. But my guess is I can't imagine that they're not going to at least be able to get back to 6 wins, 7 wins. I mean, when you look at their schedule, there's like 4 games that I think are really going to be difficult for them. It's like Alabama, Florida, Clemson, and Miami, but I don't think they play Notre Dame next year. So they have like 4 tough games, but the other 8 they should win. I mean, if they're the normal, they don't even have to be a great Florida State team. Just be like the normal Florida State, and I would think you go 8-4. And while that's still disappointing for the Seminoles in terms of what they expect and where they expect the peak of their program to be, it is a six win improvement, which it'd be tough to fire a coach over a 6-win improvement.
The schedule's the best I can tell. They play some team called East Texas A&M. That's one of those new teams, and Kent State. They're going to win those 2 games. So they've got 2 games they're going to win. They've got to go to Florida and Clemson. You would think that's 2 games they're going to lose. They've got to play Alabama. That's the 3rd game I would think they're going to lose. They get Miami at home, but who knows what Miami will be?
Right.
Yeah. So you never know that. They travel to Stanford. I don't know if Stanford's any good, but that's a long way to go if you're not a pretty good team. But their other road games are NC State, winnable, maybe not, but winnable, at Virginia. Their home games are Virginia Tech and Pitt and Wake Forest. You're right. So if he builds it back quickly, and again, he gutted his whole staff. I mean, everything's new except the head coach. I mean, you think about it. I mean, they've changed everything, except the head coach. So
Odell isn't even the defensive line coach anymore. He's still with the program, but he's not.
They've changed it. So again, he's been appropriately and extremely active, the way he should be, based on this whole thing. But Thomas Castellanos, I will tell you, I was really impressed with him the one game I watched against FSU. He's tough. He's a good runner. I never thought about it. You said it. The Jordan Travis comparison is real. No one's going to have the magic he had.
Right.
But the style of play is your point.
Yes.
He's undersized guy, that better runner than passer, who became a very good passer.
Right.
And
a poor man's Jordan Travis can probably at least get you to 7 wins.
Yeah.
Where while again that's not outstanding, at least you're no longer drowning. You've now started to at least tread water a little bit and catch your breath. And then you hope to take a big step in 26. So, we'll see. But again, it's to your point, it's going to take more than Castellanos. Like, they've got to dominate in the offensive line in terms of the portal. They've got to get some playmakers. I mean, they really, who do they have defensively that really excites you? I know Daryl Jackson said he was going to come back.
And by the way,
last time we saw him, DJ Lagway was throwing him off like a rag doll.
Right. But that's a help. That's a help. The guy's played a lot of football. Maybe he's not as good as everyone thought he would be, but the fact that you have a 23-year-old defensive tackle who's played a lot of football and has had some good moments. The problem is there anybody else coming back? Anybody else of significance coming back? And you're right. Daryl Jackson, unfortunately, the moment people will remember will be DJ Lagway throwing him to the side and completing a pass.
On one leg.
Yeah, but I think Daryl Jackson's okay. Daryl Jackson isn't the problem. The problem is there's 21 other positions that don't have a Daryl Jackson. That's the problem.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Daryl Jackson is probably a pretty good player, but that's like the only guy.
Yes.
Now, but again, they're getting guys from Nebraska to follow new defensive coordinator Tony White. So maybe those guys can make an impact. They've gotten some UCF guys.
Right.
On the offensive side that Malzahn obviously will have some familiarity with, but I mean I'd say this: they in my opinion still have a very long way to go. Again, because I don't know how many of these true freshmen you're going to be able to count on. Because yes, they got the running back at the end there, but I mean they had a miserable class compared to where they would normally be. Now again, we still have the February window, so they could improve. But I mean, you look at, I can't remember the last time I saw, Florida State 20th in the nation in recruiting. So I don't know how many of those guys, my point is, you can realistically expect to step on the field and be high-quality players immediately for you. So, they've still got to add a lot of guys, I think.
I do love this, by the way, both FSU and Florida. I love the fact that Florida added Long Island U at Brooklyn to the schedule, a team nobody in the history of the world's ever heard of.
No.
And Florida State countered by East Texas A&M, a team that nobody in the world's ever heard of. God bless them. I mean, it's hard to win. So go get two teams that are essentially JV teams. I don't blame them at all. We'll take a break. We'll talk a little bit about Florida Tulane in a bit. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Pavia here for MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back. And if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step 1, use our promo code 1010XL. That will double your bankroll with a 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays. Why wait? That's right there, a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now and get your double deposit bonus with MyBookie, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, from anywhere with MyBookie.
It's more than just filling the stat sheet. It's the guy who makes the universal difference.
Free, cuts back, and grabs a man for a touchdown.
The Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game on 1010XL.
My Gate Rewards members, now through January 2nd, you'll get an entry for your chance to win free gas for a year each time you buy 5 eligible Monster Club products. Not a rewards member? Download the Gate app today. See store for details.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
We're HAPPY, HAPPY, because Happy Honda Days are here. Everything is bigger. Bigger selection, bigger discounts, bigger trade-in values. Honda, quality, value, safety. Don't miss Happy Honda Days, going on now at your local Honda dealer.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island is excited to announce an all-new happy hour, 7 days a week. You heard right. Every day from 3 until 6 p.m. and again from 9 until close. Barley and Pie has deals you can't resist. 2-for-1 clay lights, 2-for-1 house wines, and much more. Experience the all-new happy hour at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island.
Start your week with a Hall of Fame breakfast.
Well, I'm hungry. How about you?
Join Dan Hicken, Jeff Prosser, and Jags Hall of Famer Tony Bazzelli for tons of football talk. Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida. Monday mornings at 7:20 on 1010XL.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
If you're looking for the best in indoor air quality, I've got the experts to call. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jaguars, specializing in the best air quality for your home or work with the Remy Halo. Instead of waiting for pollutants to travel through the ductwork to be neutralized, the Halo cell releases friendly oxidizers every time your fan blows air, helping those in your home that suffer from allergies and other respiratory issues. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and start enjoying cool comfort and clean air.
There's still time to grab a mouth-watering holiday roast at Southern Steer Butcher in Ortega. Come for the roast and leave a hero with last-minute gift cards for the whole fam.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
When my wrist pain was acting up and I needed help, I took Dan Hickens' advice and headed over to see the experts at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. This is Stuart Moore with the PGA Tour. I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Whenever you have a need, they took great care of me. They'll take great care of you.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy. The next time you need orthopedic care, you can rely on our team at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
It's the Jaguars' final home game of the 2024 regular season, and you don't want to miss it. Join us Sunday, December 29th for our fan appreciation game when the Jaguars take on the Tennessee Titans.
It's going to go over on downs, and the Jags are going to win the ball game.
To lock in your seats for this divisional matchup, head to Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you there, Jags fans.
Prosser here for Lifetime Flooring. You've heard us rave about Lifetime Enclosures. Now let's talk about Lifetime Flooring. I can tell you firsthand, the product, services, best in Jacksonville. As you know, updating your floors is one of the most dramatic changes you can make to your home. Call the experts at Lifetime Flooring now and ask about their buy one room, get one room free promotion through Christmas. 0% financing, available to meet any budget. Visit their beautiful showroom just off Phillips Highway. And as always, tell them Prosser sent you.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Gate Stores. The Gators men's basketball just recently secured their biggest win of the season over the North Carolina Tar Heels, moving their perfect record to 11-0 to start the season. Head coach Todd Golden credits his three starting guards, Walter Clayton Jr., Elijah Martin, and Will Richard, as a big part of their success.
Yeah, I mean, they're all really good players. And I think the thing that's been great for us is that, A, they complement each other very well. You know, the way we play offensively, we allow them all to play with the ball screen. Obviously, Walter's the guy that's on the ball the most. Listen, they're all three of those guys are seniors. They've all had great success individually in different ways. And you just feel a lot more confident and comfortable as a coach, you know, when you roll those three guys out there every night because you feel really good about winning the matchup.
Gators will host North Florida in the O-Dome this Saturday, tip-off at 12. Listen to the game live on 10:10 a.m. It's 75 degrees at 3 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
You know what's happening today? RJ Saunders spinning the hits today.
He is.
I'm just telling you, I don't know if you're paying attention or not, but that's what's happening here on a Thursday afternoon. Doing thanks Stanley Pools, always a Stanley Pools Thursday. Our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week stops by in the final half hour of the show, right after headlines. Headlines coming up in about 10 minutes or so. Why do I have this weird feeling that Florida Tulane is close tomorrow? Why do I feel that way?
Because I mean, Florida's still dealing with. You still have a true freshman quarterback. You've now had, I think, what was your emotional leader on defense not only leave you but sign with LSU. And one of the more puzzling things that we've seen around here in college football wise in a while. So, you know, I think Florida's certainly at edge. I think you would worry a little bit about it. I don't think Cam Jackson's going to play, even though they haven't said that. And Cam Jackson said, you know, I'm going to be around for the bowl game. But Napier said earlier this week, you know, Cam's been kind of dinged up, which was, I thought, coach speak for Cam. And we have decided Cam isn't going to play in this game. So, you know, your defensive front is taking a hit with attrition. You do have a young quarterback, and how will he handle it? How charged up will this team be for a December 20th bowl game against an opponent like Tulane. So I think that all factors in. And look, Tulane, like you said, they're well coached. They've won 9 games. And while they don't have their starting quarterback, the backup is mobile. So a mobile quarterback can give Florida problems, converting some 3rd and 8s early by running it, that kind of stuff. So I could see it. I think Florida probably wins by 17. I think they cover. But I don't think it's going to be like, Florida, West Virginia in the Sugar Bowl that year where Monty Grove put the Studstill's helmet on the other side of his head.
41-7.
And, the game was over by midway through the second quarter.
This has been a weird year for them. They won 8 games in a row to get to where they were 9-2. And were being talked about as possibly the group of 5 team in the playoffs.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, Memphis beats them by double digits. And then they get into their conference championship game, and Army just rolls them 35-14. Oh, by the way, and they had Mensa. They had the quarterback. It's not like they lost their quarterback and all that. They had the quarterback the whole time. And all of a sudden, they look like an entirely different team. And then Darian Mensa is leaving and going to Duke. You know the story by now. But it's been a weird year. And John Sumrall, the coach, is the hottest guy. Where was he? Troy before? He was at Troy, right? Troy, then Tulane. He's the guy that made every list. So they've had an interesting season. When they've played a Power 4, they've lost. They lost to Kansas. They lost at home to Kansas State by 7. Then they lost on the road to Oklahoma, who wasn't a very good team, but they lost to Oklahoma 34-19. Then they did not play another Power 4 team. So the 2 Power 4 teams they played, they got handled. But in fairness, no, those are both early in the season. So I just get this feeling that I love Lagway. I'm not like I don't love Lagway
like a son.
I love Lagway like you do. But then again, I've never loved anybody the way you love Lagway. So I love my daughter and my wife, but not like you love Lagway.
Yeah.
But I think he's good. But again, he's not gonna. You're not going to look up and he's 27 for 31 for 352 yards. That's just not how he plays yet. Maybe that'll get there. They're going to run the ball, and I think they will run it on Tulane because they kind of run it on everybody. They're a very good running team. They've got really good backs. And by the way, that running back room, Montrell Johnson, Jaden Baugh, Jacoby Jackson. Oh, that running back room. I'd put that against the teams in the playoffs.
Yeah,
it's a really good running back room. So they'll run it, and I think Florida's going to win. And I think Florida's probably going to win. My guess is Florida's probably going to win that game 31-21, 31-20.
Yeah.
But
so you think the line will be?
I think the line
will be right
close.
on the line. Yeah.
But I get the hunch. It's 24-20, and Florida seals it with 2:38 to play with a running touchdown to make the final margin. I think it's that game. I think with 4 minutes left in the third quarter, it's anybody's game. Do you think that?
I do. Yeah. I think Florida probably scores late to probably put it away. So I think Florida covers. Again, I'll say Florida wins by 17, somewhere in there, 34-17 kind of game, 41-24 kind of game, something like that. The other thing too is I don't know that Tulane can take advantage of it, but that Florida secondary is still going to be decimated. Right. None of those guys that were injured are back. So you're still dealing with the same amount of attrition in the secondary that you were. And look, going back to that Florida State game, there were plays to be made that just Florida State didn't make. They had a couple of over-the-top shots that would have been touchdowns if the ball had been accurate. So I think it could be dicey. Tulane, it's going to be one of the biggest games they've played in a while. It's a chance to beat Florida in the Sunshine State. So, the Tulane players are going to have that chip on their shoulder of, Florida didn't offer any of us, and they think they're better than we are. And so I think all that factors in. But I would think Florida's ground game should be enough to get the win. I don't know, though, that Florida is mature or good enough yet to just go and hammer what should be at least a competent Tulane team.
We'll take a break. Hays has headlines on the other side. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Oh, they have the injured hamstring.
All it takes to spoil the dream is the tweak of a hamstring.
Boy, this is bad news.
Listen for the Farah and Farah injury update
On 1010XL, Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
A different path means a new hope for Miami football this season.
Find out what you need to know about the Canes on the Performance Painting Hurricane Report.
Keep an eye on the Canes as they strike back on 1010XL. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Jacksonville. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Daly's Place, July 29th. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. For more, visit ShaniaTwain.com.
Right out of this world.
Big Chief Tire offers affordable quality tires for every type of vehicle. Frank Frangie here. Whether you're looking for all-season tires, high-performance options, or something more budget-friendly, Big Chief has the perfect set to keep you rolling. Their expert technicians ensure your tires are installed quickly and safely so you can drive with confidence. Visit WeKeepJacksRolling.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your appointment and check out their unbeatable tire deals today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
To get this thing unwrapped here. Duval!
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, Dan. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Stash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Stash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it," and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Stash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Stash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait, but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners. So you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What do I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
Frank Frangie here. It's the holiday season and Nimnik Buick GMC is here for you. Whether you're making memories on the road or continuing family traditions right here in Jacksonville, you can always count on us because there's nobody but Nimnik. This month, save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500s or enjoy rates as low as 0% zero APR financing. That's right, 0%. Shop online 24/7 at NimnikBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Hey, Florida drivers, the holiday season is upon us. When celebrating, always plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Besides, a DUI could cost you $10,000. Not exactly the best gift you could give yourself. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Best Bet is number one. That's right, Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine have one-card poker, the fastest and easiest card game to learn and play. Play one card at a time, and the highest card wins even money. If the card values are the same, it's time for war, just like the game you remember. You must be 18 years or older to play. Learn all the games at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here. RJ Saunders is with us today. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, we're going to start with kind of a fun thing that ESPN's Bill Barnwell did today. He ranked the worst decisions every team has made since 2020.
All right.
The Jags ranked 6th on worst decisions list for hiring Urban Meyer. Cleveland was one of the Deshaun Watson trade and signing.
So he thought that was a bad one?
He thought that was a bad, but it was, hey, not in the top 5.
Listen,
so
listen,
we'll take 6.
Listen, it's subjective. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. So the fact that the Urban Meyer hiring didn't make the top 5, I can't wait to see what else is in there.
Well, I mean, even get like 49ers taking Trey, spending all that draft capital to take Trey Lance was very high on Barnwell's list. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. That is a list where you want to be somewhere in the 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 range.
That's right.
Doug Peterson met with reporters yesterday and had an interesting comment we haven't gotten to yet. We talked about playing young guys. He wants to see cornerback Trey Prince play a little bit in these final 3 games.
Yeah, one thing about Doug, and I'll tell you this, and I appreciate this about him. He wants to do what's best for this franchise, not what helps you win games necessarily today. Look, he knows he's a smart guy. He knows there's a chance he's not the coach here next year. Well, if that's how you feel, you could just play all your veteran guys. He still knows that what's best for the franchise is playing time for these young guys, regardless of who's coaching them next year. And he certainly hopes it's him, but he's going to play Trey Prince. And I think you'll see Trey Prince some. My guess is, by Montrezl Brown playing so much the last couple of games, looks like they've moved on from Ronald Darby, a veteran. And so why not play more young cornerback?
Absolutely. Congratulations to Jaguars running back Travis Etienne. He was named the local media's Good Guy Award winner for this season. That goes to the player that's the most cooperative, insightful in his answers, and available. Etienne has been fantastic in terms of all that since he arrived, but particularly having the difficult fumble in week 1. Travis Etienne still very friendly and very receptive to media interviews. So and hat tip to ESPN's Mike DeRocco, our good buddy D-Rock, who coordinates that.
Yeah, and he's accessible. I agree with you. Travis Etienne's a good dude, and I'm glad for all the things that haven't gone right for him or for the team this year. That's a neat designation. I'll still always be Evan Ingram's won it. Christian Kirk's won it. I can still remember 2 years ago how important it was to Christian Kirk. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was cool.
How important it was to him for people to feel that way about it.
Absolutely. Frank, the Las Vegas Raiders don't offer much in terms of a challenge, it would not seem, but rookie tight end Brock Bowers is certainly at the top of the list. What do you think the Jaguars' coverage plan will be for Bowers?
Number one, I think it's the only bright spot they have had. I think the Jags will play the way they have been. I think there will be a lot of that match zone, which is man-to-man but not. I don't think they'll double cover him, but I don't think they're just going to stick a strong side linebacker or safety on him. I think probably match zone. Don't get beat. The one thing they can't do is keep getting beat over the top. Well, he's one of the tight. He's had over 90 catches. He's one of the tight ends that can beat you over the top. I would say probably 2 guys, mostly in a zone match situation. but I would think he's going to get a lot of attention.
There's some NFL injury news that just came in. Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes is clear from his ankle injury. He will start Saturday at home against Houston.
Yeah, that's good news. That is always good news when the good players aren't hurt. There's a lot of guys who are going to be out this week as the injuries mount up around the league, but I'm glad Mahomes is healthy. I don't care about the Chiefs either way. I don't hate the Chiefs. I don't root for the Chiefs, but it's better when your good players are playing.
Some good news, some bad news for the Pittsburgh Steelers as they get ready to head to Baltimore in a matchup that will basically decide the AFC North. The Steelers will not have receiver George Pickens or backup quarterback Justin Fields, but it looks like TJ Watt will be able to play.
They hate not to have Pickens because he's their best receiver, but make no mistake, TJ Watt's more important than both those guys combined. If Pittsburgh wins games, they win games with defense. He's the heart and soul of their defense, so that's good news for them.
The Athletic revealed a deep dysfunction with the New York Jets in a special report that they put out earlier today. One of the analogies that they use, owner Woody Johnson, who was described as impulsive and over-involved, balked at a possible Jerry Jeudy trade because of Judy's low Madden rating.
Stop it.
Serious.
I don't believe you. I think you made that up.
Well, I didn't write the report.
Okay.
But
how about that? If that's true.
Wow.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
And by the way, they've got pretty good receivers, but that's not the point. That's not the point of the story.
Absolutely. Calais Campbell, one of our good buddies from years gone by, is with the Dolphins, but he says he could get released if the Dolphins are eliminated from playoff contention so that he could go sign with a contender. Calais would be subject to waivers, but obviously the only team that would probably claim him at this point would be a team in contention. So again, Calais Campbell still searching to get that Super Bowl ring that he came so close to getting here with the Jaguars. I kind of hope the Dolphins do release him and Calais is able to go sign with a team maybe like the Lions or the Bills or the Chiefs.
I do too. I hope he gets it, and the Lions make a lot of sense because they lost so many good defensive players. I hope they release him, and I hope that's where he wants to go.
Let's get it to Week 16 starting tonight with Denver heading to L.A. to play the Chargers. The Broncos are 9-5 while the Chargers are 8-6, so big wild card implications in this game.
Yeah, big game. Hayden Hurst, by the way, the former Bulls player and South Carolina football player, activated for the first time. He's been on IR, so look for him to be a factor in that game, and I hope so. I like Hayden. I hope he gets the chance to be a factor in the game. It is a big game, and listen, for me, Justin Herbert's the quarterback in the game with all the attention. I think I'm more interested in watching Bo Nix, what he is becoming.
He's played really well.
He really has. He's had some moments that weren't perfect, but his good moments have been really, really good.
Absolutely. Lots to get to in the world of college football. Florida might be getting five-star receiver Dallas Wilson, who was asked out of his deal with Oregon. So that could be a potential huge addition for Florida's offense.
Yeah, because he looks ready from what everybody says. Interesting story. Kid from Tampa Bay Tech, committed to Oregon very early in the process. Then toward the end right before the signing day, you heard all the whispers that he was going to flip to Florida. But then he sent out a tweet about Oregon and signed with Oregon, and that was over. Well, now all of a sudden he wants out and wants to go to Florida. So what happened down the stretch when he was about to flip and then didn't, and now has, and he'll get out of that. If not, he'll sue. So he'll play for Florida next year.
Yeah, and I would think Oregon would just release him. Why go through the trouble of all of that?
A lawsuit, you're going to lose.
Correct. Yeah. Speaking of the Gators, we will be at Beaches, the Beaches location of Strings.
Tomorrow we're going?
Tomorrow watch
afternoon?
the Gators play Tulane, yes.
We're both going?
We're both going to be there doing the Frangie Show presented by Karis Wealth Planning. That should be a lot of fun. So come join us and see DJ Lagway one last time before the Orange and Blue game.
Yeah, thank you, Brad Ernst, and all the people at Karis for sponsoring this thing. I really appreciate that. Thank you to Strings for putting it on. And how about this? Come out, hang out with us. Let's all watch the Gators together. Now, we'll be on the air during it, but come hang out and watch the Gators with us. And some of our staff from Walk-Off is going to be out there. I think Brad wanted to involve Walk-Off in this. So did Scott Adib from Strings. So anybody that makes a donation to Walk-Off, how big or how small, it could be $1, whatever, you get a free beer. And so, and by the way, you don't have to give a donation to Walk-Off to come out here. You can just come out and hang out and watch the game. But anybody that makes a donation to Walk-Off Charities gets a free beer from one of those great beers from Strings Sports Brewery.
Absolutely, right there on Penman Road.
Right on Penman Road at the Beach. Look, already all the beach people know where it is.
Yeah.
I mean, already, I can tell you. I was in there the other night.
Yeah.
Everybody at the beach already knows where it is, so come hang out with us.
Diego Pavia, the talented Vandy quarterback, has won his lawsuit against the NCAA to be eligible to play next season. Pavia's argument was that his junior college years should not count because he was not able to cash in on NIL, and the court agreed. So Pavia, one more year to play college football.
And it's game-changing, and not just for him, but now it looks like all junior college players, well, you can never again count a junior college player's years against him. You can't ever. You can't. So you made a point earlier, Jacoby Jackson, a really good running back at Florida, who would only have had a year left or so, or 2 years, whatever, now is more like a redshirt freshman because if the junior college years don't count.
Absolutely, and Jackson had 452 rushing yards with a 5.4-yard average and 7 touchdowns for the Gators, so that could be really pivotal for them and any player, because you have to think with Pavia winning the case, the NCAA should just come right out and blanket statement it and say JUCO years no longer count.
Right, that's right.
So we'll see what they do. Oklahoma gets coveted portal quarterback John Mateer, who left Washington State. Mateer's right towards the top of the Heisman odds. So this is a potentially massive get for the Oklahoma Sooners as they try and find their footing in the SEC.
Yeah, they lost their starting quarterback, who was expected to be very good, so now they land another one. It'll be interesting. Oklahoma, by the way, this isn't the old Big 12. You don't get to win a big game against Texas and then have Kansas State and Iowa State and Baylor as your next 3 games. You're living in a little different world now, and they found that out.
Absolutely. Alabama AD Greg Byrne finds himself living in a different world, and he does not like it. He pleads with fans to donate to NIL efforts to help the Crimson Tide, who he says are getting passed by in the NIL race.
Yeah, I think of all the things Alabama has, it doesn't have as many rich boosters as some other schools. Now, the reason they've always had all the money they wanted is because the Alabama boosters, football is more important to them than the rich guys who went to these other schools. I don't know that there's more money in the Alabama booster base than Missouri. I don't know. But Alabama's boosters all care about giving it to football. Missouri's haven't. But now when everybody's starting to give it to football, I don't know that Alabama's got the depth of big money boosters that some of these other schools have.
Without a doubt, we will get you out on our musical note of the day as we have been celebrating our favorite Christmas songs as we get close to December 25th, next Wednesday. Today I'm going to play mine, David Bowie and Bing Crosby. This is Peace on Earth and Little Drummer Boy, recorded in 1977.
One of my favorite, too. This is a great song. If you haven't seen the video with them standing by the piano together, you have to see it. Great, great work as always. So we'll take a break and then say hello to our Duval County Scholar athlete right after this.
Gifts we bring, ba-rum-ba-bum, rum-ba-bum, rum-ba-bum. Peace on earth, can it be?
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
You've probably heard the saying, it's not how hard you get hit, it's whether or not you get back up. Well, I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and I have a saying of my own. If you get hit with a personal injury or wrongful death, hit back and fight to make them pay. At Hastings Injury Law, we have the experience you want if you or a loved one suffer a car or trucking accident or wrongful death. Just call 904-HIT-BACK and we'll help you get up and hit back. Office is Jacksonville.
Frank Frangie here. It's the holiday season, and Nimnick Chevrolet is here for you. Whether you're making memories on the road or continuing family traditions right here in Jacksonville, you can always count on us because there's nobody but Nimnick. The Red Tag sales event is back at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. And unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. So shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen, energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Right now, buy one window or patio door and get one 40% off. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. The first 50 customers get a free TrueScreen upgrade, but this offer expires December 31st. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613. Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island is excited to announce an all-new happy hour, 7 days a week. You heard right. Every day from 3 until 6 p.m. and again from 9 until close. Barley and Pie has deals you can't resist. 2-for-1 clay lights, 2-for-1 house wines, and much more. Experience the all-new happy hour at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island.
Start your Saturday with a whiff of the great outdoors.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Loggeman, and we bring you the fresh air of the great outdoors.
On the Nimnit Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Hey gang, Dan Hicken here for America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 10 million active members. It's Prize Picks. First things first, download the app today and use code JAX, that's JAX, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download that app today, use code JAX, $50 after you play your first $5 lineup. How to play? All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, like, is Jared Goff going to throw for more than 230 passing yards? Will Saquon Barkley have more than 1 touchdown? Will Travis Kelce have less than 70 receiving yards? You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, which they usually do, I get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Prize Picks also now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals. Prize Picks, run your game.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but incredibly functional for me and Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And be sure to check out their end-of-year sale, including 18-month special financing. Closets by Design.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
Jingle bells, plumbing's gone astray. A burst pipe, no hot water clogged drain on Christmas Day. That's no holiday. Call Duck Rooter, we're faster than Santa's sleigh.
904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
There's still time to grab a mouth-watering holiday roast at Southern Steer Butcher in Ortega. Come for the roast and leave a hero with last-minute gift cards for the whole fam.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson on what he wants to see more of from the Jaguars secondary over the final 3 games.
Yeah, you still want to be able to see some of the young players. You know, I would like to see Trey Prince more.
get opportunity in these next couple of games. Obviously, AJ continues to improve and needs to play. I think it's good that he plays and minimizes the mistakes that he makes. Obviously Tyson's going to be out there, Buster. We know what those guys can do and still want to see them compete. And if we get the opportunity, I would love to see, particularly Trey Prince probably, more, because all the other guys are playing. He's probably the one right now that, hasn't gotten many snaps. We'd like to see him in game action.
With your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update, I'm Andrew Gibson.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hey, let's go!
And now, this week's Scholar Athlete of the Week. Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234 on 1010XL.
All right, it's time to say hello to our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week. It is Ben Ward from Atlantic Coast High School. Ben, how are you, man?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Good to see you. Ben, we're going to talk a lot about our industry, but let's start with basketball. You're a big-time three-point shooter, state top 10 in 3 points made. You're the leading scorer on the Atlantic Coast team. Tell me all about your basketball career, how long you've played, and why it's special for you.
Yes, sir. It started out surprisingly as baseball. I played baseball for a while growing up. I switched over to basketball when I was around 10, 11. I kind of just like the fast-paced aspect of basketball because, the adrenaline rush of it. So switched over when I was young, and I've played ever since. A lot of coaching changes throughout my middle school, high school career, but, I've stuck through it, and I love it.
Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben, what's been your favorite performance, favorite game of your career?
Favorite game? It's really hard. Like I mentioned earlier, sadly, it was a loss, our rivalry game against Mandarin 2 years ago, my sophomore year. It was a packed-out game, most packed game probably AC in a while, and there were crowds from both schools, and it was a really close game, went down all the way to the wire. I went 6 for 6 that game, 18 points, best shooting night easily of my high school career. So, like I said, sadly, it was a loss, but just the environment, the atmosphere around it, and I don't know, it's a controversial call at the end of the game. I tripped over a ref's foot, actually, coming down the wire. It was a tough play. It was a fast break. I was wide open in the corner. Teammate literally passed the ball. As the ball's in midair to me, I trip over the ref's foot, turnover, their ball, they win the game. So that was also kind of, I don't know, it's drama. It's drama, so that's why I like it.
6 of 6.
He was going to make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, can we get Ben some more shots?
Right.
If he's 6 of 6,
right.
Can we get the ball to Ben?
And I asked him the most threes you've made. You made 8 threes in a high school game?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's got to be around it. Around 8 threes.
8 threes. So
yeah.
Very, very cool. So you're a really good shooter. I mean, shooter's your thing.
Yes,
right? So,
I would like to say so. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's your thing. But I want you to talk about this. You have some interest in our industry. Tell us about that. You listen to the radio station. You know our buddy Cush, obviously. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that. That's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, most definitely. Me and Mr. Kushner at our school, he's an amazing teacher, amazing person. He has helped me out so much in, finding a passion in my career path, actually, and in announcing sports games, just like I said, like you mentioned, like you guys are in your industry, and he's allowed us to use equipment from that he's provided to us. We do our home football games and our home baseball games, and I actually went out to Fort Family when our baseball team played in the Gateway Conference tournament, so that was a little on location. I also went to the Jumbo Shrimp Stadium when they were playing a couple of downtown games. So I had a table set up and we had our equipment with it. I had my MacBook set up. So yeah, I mean, I've been practicing, trying to get better at the announcing thing. I've found that's my love. That's definitely my career passion. I love doing it. I've done it as a kid. I would run around the house announcing my own games as I'm playing, jumping on the couch and stuff.
Hey.
My dad knows about it. I still do it, honestly. I still practice in the house, announcing stuff. Here's sports junkie. I love announcing. I love all the guys like you guys. Really respect you guys, all your work you do.
Well, if you ever go over, call another game over there at Fort Family, let me know. I know people. I probably can get you up in the press box if I play my cards right.
Yeah, Ben, you've got the voice. Absolutely.
I appreciate
it. How do you? What's the plan for college and getting to pursue that dream?
Yeah, I mean the plan is definitely sadly going to leave Jacksonville. That's definitely going to be a hard pill to swallow. But I'm definitely looking forward to going up Midwest. All my schools that I've applied to are Midwestern, so most of my family's from there. I love the cold weather. Definitely, aiming for a big sports city, somewhere I can get opportunities. And, like I said, I love sports, so going to the games and stuff all in college and just getting that experience of having pro, NBA, NFL, college, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
We were asking you before your favorite team, and you said Bengals, Michigan, and LSU.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, it is all over the place. It is really all over the place.
Okay.
But like I mentioned earlier too, I split away from the Jaguars around 2015, 2014. I fell in love with AJ Green, Andy Dalton. Those are my guys back then. And I don't know. Yeah, I've been a Bengals fan ever since. Fell in love with them. Obviously, it's been up and down this year with them. Michigan is because my mom's from Michigan. I have a lot of family up there too. So I just fell in love with Michigan since I was little. I like the Florida Gators. Florida Gators is probably my favorite Florida sports team.
Okay.
Florida Gators.
We'll take that.
I've always liked the Florida Gators.
We'll take that. Well, Ben Ward is our Duval County Scholar Athlete Week. Please say hello, by the way, to Mr. Kushner. Kush is one of the all-time good guys, and
of course,
very close to him, and I was very close to his brother, who's also one of the all-time good guys. So please say hello to Kush, and congratulations again. Good luck, and we'll see you in our business before we know it. But thanks for coming by.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
All right, Ben Ward from Atlantic Coast High School, a Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week, fantastic basketball player, great three-point shooter, and I have no doubt in my mind that Ben will be in our business sooner rather than later. You can tell he's got an aptitude for it and a love for it. So great catching up with Ben Ward, our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week from Atlantic Coast High School. He's a neat guy.
Oh, absolutely.
He'll be, by the way, you can just tell from his personality.
Right.
He'll be very good in this business. I will tell you, Ben will be a sports broadcaster.
Oh, yeah.
And he will be a good one. I can tell you that right now.
Well, and he was saying to us in break that Butler was a school that he was, that he's strongly considering, probably the leader in the clubhouse. And he was talking about, perfect market. You're in Indianapolis. It's got, there's not just Butler. They've got, how many D1 schools are right next to Indianapolis terms of just basketball that are great?
Right.
Plus, you have obviously the Colts, and you've got the Pacers, and so yeah, those kind of markets ideal for somebody trying to get into the business.
Yeah, really neat kid. Very impressed with Ben. It was great having Ben in here. So, our Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week. All right, Dad, let's do a little cool down here.
Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, where have we been today? We thought about the Jags, kind of what went wrong with the Jags today, and Hays and I both went over a handful of things that we think got away from this team and how it got away from them, roster concerns, coaching concerns, whatever yours were. We certainly gave you ours. We talked a little bit about Florida State, Thomas Castellanos. I say burden is the wrong word, but the pressure on him to flip that FSU thing back around. He will be the quarterback. The former Ware County player from right up the road in Waycross will be the Florida State quarterback. He's a little guy, but a very good athlete, and it's clear that Mike Norvell and Gus Malzahn together brought him in. They tabbed him to be the quarterback. Luke Kromenhoek is gone. It'll be Thomas Castellanos' team. We talked about Brock Bowers and the Raiders and what they will face against what the Jaguars will face against them. Diego Pavia won his case. We certainly talked about that, and we're going to get you ready certainly for Jags and Raiders coming up, and that is the cool down. Want to remind you one more time, tomorrow, Florida plays Tulane in the Gasparilla Bowl. It's a 3:30 kick. Our show is on from 4 to 6, so we said, why don't we go hang out? For the folks from Karis Wealth Management have sponsored our trip out there, Brad Ernst and his team, so Brad will be out there with a bunch of his buddies. But we invite you to come to Strings, the brand new Strings, in Penman Road at the beach. It's a beautiful location. You're going to love it. It's clean. Strings Sports Brewery with all that great beer and great food. We'll be out there. Come out there, hang out with us, watch the game with us. We'll be watching the game. We may pay a little bit of attention to our show, but mostly we'll be watching the game.
Yeah,
so
much.
So there's that.
Look, if Tulane gets up 20-0,
yeah,
it's going to be quite a show.
But tomorrow's show will be normal. Doug Peterson will join me at a little after 4. Pete Prisco will be on at around the 5 o'clock hour. We'll do some fun stuff. Rafael Esparza, all our normal Friday stuff, but we'll be doing it all live from Strings. So we want you to come by and say hello. Doug will be by phone. Pete will be by phone. But we will be there with you, and we'd love to have you stop by and say hello as we are live at Strings tomorrow. We're looking forward to it. We don't get out enough. And by the way, and I don't want to, you don't have to do this, but we are going to have our walk-off charity set up there. Anybody that donates to walk-off gets a free beer, and that's compliments of Strings and of Karis Well. So thank you to them. I'm really looking forward to it. That's going to be a really fun show.
It will be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see the new Strings location, and can't wait to get to know our good friends even more that listen to us each day. And it's always fun watching the Gators with a good group of fans. So should be a lot of fun. And what's your pick? Who's going to win the game?
I think Florida will beat Tulane. I don't think they're going to rout them. I think Tulane's got a pretty good team. Now, Tulane at one point was 8-2. They lost their last two, 8-2. They lost their last two games. They lost to Memphis, final game of the regular season. Then they got kind of routed by Army in the it's the American Athletic Conference championship game. So they got routed at the end. They've lost their quarterback, Darian Mensah, who's a pretty good player now. He is moving on to play at Duke. He's in the portal and already announced where he's going. So I think it's Ty Thompson, I think, will be their quarterback. He's the backup quarterback. Hadn't played very much. Interesting. Ty Thompson is going to be their quarterback. He's 6'4", 225, athletic, and then he's going to leave. So I'm a little curious as to why he's a junior, so he's got 1 year left. I guess he didn't feel like in that 1 year he was going to be the Tulane quarterback.
Yeah.
So he's going to wind up leaving. But he's going to play one game. So he'll play one game against the Gators. But the Gators are a relatively healthy team. You made a point earlier. You're not sure Cam Jackson will play, but most of the Florida players of note will play in the game, and so it'll be kind of fun to watch that game tomorrow. The final game, you get to watch the Gators. So we're certainly looking forward to that, and we'll be doing it live. It's String Sports Brewery and Penman. I'm looking forward to that. We'll also preview more about Jaguars and Raiders and the significance and importance of that game. That comes up as well. So it's going to be a fun end of the week as we talk about all kinds of sports. I'll tell you this, too. Oh, by the way, tomorrow night, I am excited about Indiana and Notre Dame. I'm like you. I'd feel better if it was Alabama, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I'd feel better if all the Blue Bloods were in this tournament. I'm just being honest. And so, but as we sort through it, they're going to have to figure out the way to sort through it. Is it always going to be record over strength of schedule? Because there's not many people, we might be wrong, but there's not many people that think Indiana would beat Alabama. I think if it was the best teams, we may be wrong, but most people are pretty certain that Alabama would win that game.
Well, and
so it's not about that. It's about earning your way in. And the loss column certainly has taken precedent over strength of schedule, at least this year.
And the seeding is a problem. I mean, when you're 3 seed and you're 4 seed, really no one is anticipating them winning a game, certainly not winning the whole thing. That's a problem. I mean, have you seen anybody picking Boise State to do anything?
No.
They're the 3 seed in this thing. So, again, that's a problem that's got to be solved. But yeah, it'll be fun. I mean, it's the biggest game Indiana's ever played. All the pressure will be on Notre Dame. It'll be fun to see how they respond to that if they rise to the occasion. But, I'm glad we have the 12-team playoff, but I'm disappointed in the result just because we don't have as much of a Southern presence as I was hoping for. And that's not just SEC. I thought Florida State would be in this thing in August. That was obviously way off. I thought Miami would be in the thing up until the middle of November. They're not in there. So, I mean, it's not only that the SEC didn't get as much in, but there's just not a lot of the teams that we cover. Obviously, Florida was out of it by September 20th. So, it doesn't excite me, but hopefully the games will be good. The weather will be really interesting to see how the conditions are.
Yeah. So it'll be a lot of fun. So we'll see as we and not just the weather of this game, but all those games, snow, and that's what we anticipate, a lot of snow and a lot of bad weather coming up. So Jaguar programming comes up in just a bit. That is Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick and Jeff Lageman will have that for you. And then, of course, that includes the Doug Peterson Show. So Doug comes up in a bit. It's in just a bit as well. It is kind of weird. At times, it felt like a long year, Hays, all the way across the board, college, pro, all of it. It was a tough year for the Jags as it continues. But it does feel like we're going to blink and it was over. It's kind of weird how football goes, isn't it? And I'm very excited about basketball season. Florida, Tennessee is already a sellout.
That's right. Tuesday night.
And that'll be that's in a couple too. That's right.
Probably going to be 1 versus 5.
Yeah, you would think. I would think Florida's not going to get beat between now and then. Well, they could lose to Kentucky. I shouldn't say that, but they won't get beat before. Don't they play Kentucky before that? I think they play Kentucky on the Saturday. So, folks, that's our program, but don't go anywhere. Jaguar programming right now. Jaguars Happy Hour, followed by the Doug Peterson Show. All comes up right now on 1010 XL and 92.5 FM. We're out of here. Tomorrow, live at Strings at the Beach, 4 to 6. Come out and see us, hang out with us, watch those Gators with us. We're out of here.